Okay, well, so it's now Saturday morning. Adam was meant to be here, and of course he's sleeping in, so I'm going to start removing this whole side cover and start getting into it to see where it's leaking. Then I'll give it a leak down test. Okay, so it gives me a little bit more room, and I'm just looking at how to get off the side cover. It looks like I got to pull off the shock, drill out a couple rivets, so not too big of a deal. At least not all the rivets underneath here are actually in place, so I already drilled out 2 of them. They come out super easy. Again, Adam just bitched out. Probably be another couple hours before he's here. Don't know if I'll finish removing this cover because it looks like I got to take off the shock to do it, so I might just actually cut this. Just cut it so I could pull it over top the shock. I can always patch it later from the other end. Got a message from Adam. He said I better not be working without him. Well, kind of. I'm just taking off this cover. I'm not going to do any engine work or anything till he gets here, but that's funny. Yeah. Well, there we go, got that cover off her, and check this out. That jack stand looks like it might have slid a bit, so I don't want to get my hands in between anything till I get the shock back in. But yeah, doesn't that look good? Yep, that'll have to be addressed. That's pretty bad looking. A little bit of play in the front end there. So, I don't want to pull this off until I put the shock back in place, that's for sure. It just took me a while to find a 12-point socket that had a long enough neck to go in there, and it came out perfectly fine. There you go. Now I'm going to hope my clutch puller right there fits. That's off my Polaris, and I do got another one for somewhere else, but let's see here. No, it's not going to fit. That's way smaller. Damn it. Okay, I guess I'll have to go find a clutch puller. Focus, damn you. There we go. Okay, so for now I'm going to be actually just leaving it on the truck. I kind of cleaned up the mess. I was thinking of just using a threaded bolt and a piece of old carbide in front of it, but I don't want a chance of getting stuck in the shaft of the engine, so I'll actually get the proper puller. Local probably pay 75 bucks for it. Online, eBay, let's say, I think like 50 bucks, so I have to just decide. I know I could probably just post on a Facebook page and probably borrow one from someone, but I don't want to go through that hassle. I'm going to need one anyway, so, well, for now, I guess I'll just take it off the truck once Adam gets here. And I don't know if this thing has, oh yeah, it does. If those are carbides, they're like rounded smooth. So I don't want to just drop it onto the garage floor and chance wrecking the floor. They don't feel that sharp, but so, and of course with the track, I got to put it up on dollies or something, so worry about it when Mr. Adam gets here, AG Snake Man on YouTube. Now I gotta see if this thing's going to start, because I'm going to actually use it to move around that snowmobile. Bad spot for a fuel valve, real bad spot. Everything's set good. Clip battery, please don't be dead. It's almost out of gas, it might. That wasn't that bad. Let her warm up for a few seconds. It is like plus 10 outside, so she's pretty good. Use this snowmobile everywhere. I got to make some room for the other sled, and I got to see if I can sink it in here. Oh, this is pretty hard. Whoa, talk about sinking. I'm in my shoes. So I got to move this, and the sled I'm actually, the old skidoo, I'm going to shove in this corner. I just got to get some wood to stick it up on. And if I'm right, I'll be able to put it right there and still have room to get into the shed. So, holy shit, this is actually melting pretty quick here. So, and as for the Polaris here, I'm just going to shove it back in that corner there in a few minutes. So I just got to kind of clean up some stuff. That plywood I'm going to need to lay down in the muck in a few spots. I was actually thinking of putting the sled on top of that, but probably won't do that. Okay, well, I'll get back to you guys in a little bit here. Okay, so tractor's out of here. Old man's moving his truck because he doesn't want me to scratch it. I probably would. All I'm going to do is hook up to the back of this thing. I'm actually thinking I might even be able to put a rope around it and actually lift up the whole thing and drag it that way. So, yeah, just got to figure out what I'm going to do. So, I don't feel like pushing it by hand through the muck. So, and then this thing here has to come off, but I gotta, because it has the carbides that stick out a little bit more than the track there, I gotta be careful when I drag this one in the garage. So it has carbides on the skis too, I think. If it is, they're pretty rounded. So I don't know. I do have a sharpener for those guys somewhere from my old work. So, okay, well, let's have some fun. The old man wanted to videotape me dragging it for some reason. I don't know why. I don't think I'll do the turn to get it in the yard, but I'll see. Nope. What? Right there, and then you can back your truck up to load it up. Well, that's what I'm doing. Duh. You say you're going to drag it in the backyard. Well, this is the backyard, Dad. Oh, whatever. Actually, you should drag it on top of that hill, then you can just push it onto your truck. It's light enough. I just don't want to drag it through here. Yeah, whatever. But I use the tail to load it up. Yeah. I thought you should unload the other one. Just hook that rope to it down, pull it right off onto the snowbank. Yeah, and then it flips going off that snowbank. No. I'd have to flatten that out. It wouldn't be worth it. Whatever. So, that's all I want to do is just get that outside for now without getting the track full of mud. So. Did you haul a couple of buckets of snow into the back lane? No. Get rid of them? No, it'll be gone in a week or two. I don't feel like waiting. Well, you have no choice because I'm not doing it. Whatever. Well, there we go. Final resting place temporary. I am going to put some blocks underneath it. I might even be taking this out on the weekend to give it to someone. Jordan's home. And I drove it in here from over there. And there we go. That's how everything's going to be parked for now. I think I can still get that out. All I'll have to do is back up the quad, drive it here, and then back up the loader, and then I should be able to drive the quad out when I go riding. Oh. So next thing I got to do now is start unburying the Banshee. Almost ready to put on the swing arm and a few other parts. And that trailer. I should really get off my ass and get that trailer out of the snowbank. I actually want to drag that out of town. I don't want to leave it in the city here for the summer. So, and here's an up close shot of the hood for the sled. It's pretty decent looking. So, okay. I guess I could shut this off. It's been running a while, so the battery should be pretty charged. I hope. Man, this tractor comes in so freaking handy. I'll just let it run a little bit longer, maybe to make sure it's nice and charged up the battery. Well, I just shut off the fuel. I'll just let it run out. Just leave it idling. She'll run out of fuel, shut herself off. Then I got to remember to come shut off the ignition before I kill the battery.
I'm on there.
I don't know, Adam. I think that track wouldn't last very long.
Right? Make it a summer toy too.
Have to put the Banshee rad on it too, hey? Well, she's in the shop. Going to be pulling out the engine either later on tonight or maybe tomorrow, depending on when lazy asshole wants to come over.
Yeah, I'm not that lazy.
Hey, man, it's 7 o'clock. You're meant to be here at freaking 8 in the morning.
Well, sometimes
7 o'clock in the evening.
You know?
I'm going to take off the other side cover. This one here is only held on with one rivet right here and about 3 over there. All the other ones were gone. A little bit of denting here. Bottom skid plate has to be fixed. And I got to check out the cooler, make sure there's no studs that went through it, and a few other things. I bet you can't wait.
Oh, we got to go.
Think, Adam.
It's skipping.
10 months away before you could drive it.
So have the Banshee for the meantime.
Yeah, the Banshee's still sitting here. I got my another cylinder. Those aren't the 2 same cylinders. That's the one I had. This one just came last week, or this week.
Yeah, this week.
Yeah, so I got to go through that, double check everything's good. And then I got to send off the cases to the machine shop, get those bored out to fit it. Oh, actually, I'm just thinking, I guess I never said in any of my videos what the issue was with the sled. It would start up, and pretty much after idling for a while, it would start to rev up, and it would just slowly start walking away on you. So he's thinking it's the crank seal on this side. So, hard to say. Okay, old man has his haircut finally done. I just checked it for spark on both sides. This spark plug's weak on this side, so that could be the whole issue, but I'm sure they changed that. They had to have. This reed here is not sealing proper on this side. And this side, the cylinder is 144 PSI. The guy originally, I think, said one side was 120, one side was 130. So let's see what I get on the other side. And this side shows 156. No, I'm not worried about it. So I don't think I'll have to touch the actual pistons. They seem fairly good. And I don't know. I'd have to look up those numbers to see if these were the high compression or low compression heads. But, well, this one here is tight. But believe it or not, these two bottom ones, never even put the wrench on them. Just finger tight. So right there is probably the lean condition problem right there. But I am going to pull them off to double check. Well, if you look there, look how wet that bottom corner is. It's just drenched in fuel, and believe it or not, everywhere else was tight. And that right there was one of the loose ones. So, yeah, probably sucking air right from there on the bottom of the cage. Look at that, eh? Right on the bottom there. Two bottom ones were loose. So, and if you look, I'm not sure if they'll show up there. If you look how much is leaked underneath there, the whole bottom of the cylinder is wet. So now I get to check out the piston and see what kind of shape that's in. So, and then I'll check out the boot here. The bottom of that boot soaked on one side. And those were sealing fine. I got the oil injection line. Oh no, you can see right there, it was just drenched all the way down it. And I did check the oil pumps, they are working. Let's see here, you guys will see it before me. Yes, I'm holding you guys upside down. Yeah, a little bit warm on the one side there. I guess you can't really see much of the piston here. Ooh, I see some water in there. But that's probably from the car wash. Yeah, I'm going to guess that moisture there is from the car wash. Okay, so I just checked with the old owners. They did not have the reed valves off. I noticed this one here has a spare gasket. I looked on the parts diagram, they're just meant to use this inner seal here. So yeah, spare gasket on that one. Still in shitty shape. But yeah, it's kind of interesting. So I'm going to actually be tossing her back together, giving her a try. I got some water displacement 40, WD-40 in here. So it was a little bit milky, but that's from the parts washer, or a pressure wash I mean. So let that evaporate. Good thing I decided to pull it in now and not let it sit. See this side here, if I could get the camera in there. Nope, have to go upside down. So that side never got any water in it. But this side here filled up with water. We had a glove on both of the carbs, but the actual boot here on this side was a bit loose. So that's most likely why it got in. I did prime and check both oil pumps are squirting perfectly fine. And have to change the nut or bolt on there. But yeah, I gave it a good brake clean, as you can see. That's all the oil that came off her. So, a little bit cleaner anyway. So what I'm going to do now is slap her back together, install the carbs, and spark her up. I'm going to let it sit open overnight just to kind of clean up a bit. And then I'm going to spray in some starter fluid or propane. There's not much. No, I'm not going to chance putting a torch in there. Spray in some starting fluid and see if the idle changes. So they said pretty much what was happening with this thing is it would just rev up to around, I guess, 5,500 and just start walking away from you. So yeah, I guess Adam will be the test monkey. So who knows? I might add, the first time that we start it up, we are going to be starting it up without a belt, just so we don't chance it going through the garage wall. And here's one more thing that has to be done. Choke cable. The handle's broken out of it. Old owner bought a choke cable repair kit here, so I'll be installing that and getting a working choke on her. Okay, so I'm just getting ready to reinstall the reeds on her, and I noticed this one here has a little chip out of her, but it still should seal. So I will have to get a replacement set of aftermarket ones, but just for now, let's see if I can zoom in on there. There you go, you can see there's a little bit of a chip out of it. It's not focusing worth a crap, but still seal temporary. It doesn't, I don't think that would be leaking or anything, but yeah, this will need to be changed for sure. Now I got a problem with the fuel filter not filling up. Not at all. So just checking to make sure everything's primed here. But yeah, not getting any fuel out of the tank. And I looked, the hose going into the tank is in the fuel level. I haven't pressurized the tank. Well, now the pressure's out of it. But there's some sticky ass tar they have on there, so I'm not sure if that was to stop it from leaking or not. But yeah, sticky ass tar. So I don't know what the hell that is. Well, definitely a leak in the fuel system. Nothing. Can't build up any pressure whatsoever. I shut off the on-off gauge, and I can build up some pressure, but of course it bleeds off a little bit, but I don't have this really on the best here. So there's no leak in the fuel system from here to here. So the line going inside this tank here is where the problem's going to be. Now, Adam noticed this the other day. Actually, if I can get it. Where is it? You see that black tar inside that line? Not sure what's up with that, but definitely, it is holding pressure even with the valve off here. So turn back on the valve, and you can just hear air in the tank when I do it. So yeah, oh, that just popped off there. Put my pressure sucker vacuum gauge there. And yeah, now I notice there is some fuel in the end here. It's in the end of that filter, so. But yeah, the filter will not fill up. So that could be also an issue why it was revving up, because it was lack of fuel. So that's why before, he said it was the crank seal, but before I start pulling apart the engine, pulling out the engine, I'm going to check out the obvious stuff kind of thing. So yeah, that fuel line there, to me, has to be broken between here and the tank. So let's figure it out. Oh, there's your problem right there. Look at this. I just unscrewed this and it's broken right off. So now when I first started unscrewing it, right, I heard the hose kind of spin inside the tank. So it wasn't fully broken off until I started unscrewing it. But now the hose is lying in the bottom there. You can kind of see it there. So I'll have to grab my long needle nose, pull that out. My longest pair of needle nose pliers don't fit, so I'm going to try some mechanics wire and see if I can hook it just enough to grab it with the pliers. And there we go. I got it hooked enough that I can grab it with the pliers. And there we go. If it will focus, you can see that end piece is broken right off. Come on, focus. Why won't you focus? Focus. Here, I can focus better over here. There you go. Nope. Focus. Ah, well. Close enough. You can see the end's broken in there, and there's some more of that tar. And if you look, it's hard to see, but it's actually right inside that line. You can't really see because I'm shaking like a freaking leaf. So, and that is dry rotted. Like, that is solid. And of course, Adam's bugging me. I'm telling him what I found wrong, and he's has a headache, is what he says, but he probably smoked too much freaking weed, so he doesn't want to come over and help. So yeah, I actually used up the last of my fuel line the other day, so I won't be putting in any more fuel line right now. But what I got to do now, I guess, is grab a replacement one of these guys. And I'm pretty sure I could get this in brass. Probably be my best bet. And as for it cracking there, it was already cracked, but it cracked the rest of the way and fell off when I was unscrewing it because I heard that flipping in the tank. So, but somewhere there was a leak in it, so I'm guessing right where it cracked. So the same tar that we found in the fuel tank is the same tar that's right here on the lens, and there's a bunch on the seat that we already cleaned off. Some there that I never cleaned off, but yeah. So that's another issue why it could be running lean. As you can see there's some fuel leaking out now, but it's not too big of a deal. That's just leaking out from when I primed it a little bit. So, okay, so I just quickly tested the rest of the fuel system here. This is all holding pressure nicely until I release it. So yeah, this is in good shape. And of course, Adam's bugging me again. So I was telling him how it was dry rotted and how it cracked. He's like, oh, it must have been Domo gas. So yeah, we have a problem with our local Domo giving shitty gas. So there you go. And this is just a universal vacuum gun that you could press a little button on the bottom, release any vacuum. I used it actually years ago when I originally bought it for bleeding the brakes on my old Dodge Dakota. So, and I have used it on so many other things. You can actually use it to even check for crankcase seals if you have the leak down tester, and on chainsaws, small engines. Oh man, I used it on tons of chainsaws for checking the fuel system. The thing is, when you do a seal test, like if you do a leak down test, it's not always leaks under compressed air. Sometimes it'll only leak under some vacuum. So sometimes it's nice to do the vacuum test on that. As you can see, I did a little bit of cleaning underneath it there. That is like black gooey shit from underneath the machine. The sticky stuff you see here with my fingerprints going on it is this here. I use that for sealing anything that needs to be airtight. Shove the rubber gloves in there for now. I don't think the fuel will hurt those gloves. I know I had some before that they do. I just looked up this part. Local, it's 22 bucks. Ouch! So there's a lot of room in that tank, so I'll probably make something or pick up something out of brass. If you look, it looks like plier marks, so someone actually had that out a few times. There's really no sealant on it either. I could probably, if I was a redneck, get away with drilling it out, putting in a brass pipe, gluing it in, flaring the end, but no. If that end was rotten right here, the rest of it's going to be rotten. And if you look carefully here, I know this won't show up on the camera, but you can see this here on this side is the new brake, and here on this side where it's yellow is the old brake. So if you see on the right side of it, it's yellow, and the left side of it's white. So it was actually cracked right up here before. So that's probably one issue they're having with this thing running rough. So again, the issue that he said he was having is that after idling, it would start to lean out and start driving away on him kind of thing, slowly. Which makes sense. When you start running out of fuel, a two-stroke revs up. Makes perfect sense to me, so yeah. See if that's what the issue is, which I'm sure it's going to be. I'm sure of it, that's going to be what the issue is. I don't think it needs a crank seal like he thought it would. Because there's no play whatsoever in that crankshaft. Normally, if a crank seal goes, it's because your bearings are on their way out. My phone was just vibrating. I'm not sure if that showed up. It was like bzzz, and I touched the camera and it stopped. But hope that showed up because that was freaky. I thought for a minute there was something on the snowmobile leaking. But I just thought I would mention, I actually been logging how many hours I'm into this machine for. Of actual work right now is 1 hour, 45 minutes. Plus I spent, hours just kind of looking at it, figuring out stuff. I don't count that. So I don't count the time cleaning it at the car wash. So yeah, 1 hour and 45 minutes I'm into it for. So, and again, I'm going over the entire machine. That's another reason why I took off that one side cover. Because when I drive something, I want to look over the entire thing, check for cracks, check it out. I also checked out the front end. It needs tie rod ends, inner bushings, but I don't think the bushings are bad. I think it's actually just a little bit worn out on the frame itself. But yeah, just kind of thought I'd mention that. And now I'm just going to sit down and shop for some parts.